Now let's proceed to fallacies according to quantity. Third fundamental rules, 2.1, the quantities of major term and the minor term must not be extended in the conclusion if they are particular in the premises. Yung rule na to, in-address na yung issue of extending the quantity of terms beyond what is justified by the premises in a syllogism. In simple terms, it's about making sure that the conclusion doesn't overstate the relationship between the major and the minor terms if they are particular in the premises. Example, if they are stated as specific individuals rather than as generalized or categorized. So 2.1.1 fallacies of illicit process of the major term happens if the predicate term is universal in the conclusion. For example, based sa book, all scientists are discoverers, but no scientists are stupid. Therefore, no stupid is discoverer. Based dun sa example, based on sa conclusion, no stupid is discoverer based on sa conclusion is in-extend niya yung quantity ng minor term na word which is yung stupid and it beyond what is warranted by the premises. So even though yung premises ay nag-refer lang tungkol sa specific na word or dun sa scientists and their characteristics, yung conclusion still makes a universal claim about all instances of stupid and discover as well, which is not supported by the premises major 1 and the minor. This fallacy is known as the illicit process of the major term. Additionally, the fallacy of illicit process of the major term is also known as the fallacy of the undistributed middle and occurs when the middle term is in a syllogism is undistributed in the premises but distributed in the conclusion. And naglilit siya sa invalid argument based sa example, yung premises kasi is only referred to specific scientists and their characteristics. Pero yung conclusion, it makes a universal claim about all instances of stupid and discoverers. So definitely, it could be committing this fallacy. So the conclusion extends beyond what the premises support, making the argument logically flawed. Kasi nasabi dun sa una na dapat hindi ma-extend yung conclusion based dun sa major at saka minor premises. Now let's proceed to 2.1.2 fallacies of illicit process of the minor term happen if subject term is particular in the premise and apparently becomes universal in the conclusion. For example, no bodybuilders are weak persons, but all bodybuilders are muscular individuals. Therefore, no muscular individuals are weak persons. So based example, in simple terms, this fallacy occurs when the subject term in an argument changes from being specific like some or no to being universal like all between the premise and the conclusion. For example, again, if someone argues, no bodybuilders are weak persons. All bodybuilders are muscular individuals. Therefore, no muscular individuals are weak persons. The fallacy here is that the argument starts by saying no bodybuilders in the first premise, rather, which is specific. But in conclusion, it concludes with all bodybuilders, which is an universal, making the argument logically flawed. As this switch from talking about some bodybuilders to talking about all bodybuilders, that makes the argument flawed because it's inconsistent and it's like saying none of my friends like chocolate and then later saying all people like chocolate. So that's another example, and it doesn't add up logically overall. So next is the fourth fundamental rules, 2.2. At least once that the quantity of the middle term must be universal. And the syllogism, the middle term is the one who unites between the major premise and the minor premise. And if it is a distributed universal in any of the premises, therefore, it serves the purpose as it requires to distributing its influence from the first premise and to the second premise. The fallacious happens only if the middle term has particular quantity in both premises. In simple terms, this rule says that in a syllogism, a type of logical argument, the middle term must be mentioned in a universal way at least once. The middle term is the one that connects the major premise and the major premise. Let's proceed to 2.2.1, fallacious of undistributed middle term. For example, every public officer is a law enforcer, but some law enforcers are women. Therefore, some women are public officers. The middle term here is law enforcers. Now, let's proceed to 2.2.1, fallacious of undistributed middle term. For example, based from the book, every public officer is a law enforcer, but some law enforcers are women. Therefore, some women are public officers. The middle term here is the law enforcers. The fallacy happens because this term law enforcers is not mentioned in a universal way in either premise, but mentioned in particular way with the word some itself. Some law enforcers, which doesn't distribute its influence properly across both premises, making the argument flawed as it is stated in particular way. So this rule is about making sure that the term that connects the two parts of an argument is used in a clear and consistent way. Sa example kasi, law enforcers, di ba yung law enforcers is yung middle term nga, di ba? Pero na-mention lang siya as some law enforcers in both premises. So, it creates a problem because it doesn't cover all instances of law enforcers generally, leading to flawed argument or fallacy kasi nga nabanggit lang siya in particular way and not in a universal way. So, in logical terms, this argument follows the pattern of a categorical syllogism. The first premise establishes a universal relationship between public officers and law enforcers, stating that all public officers are law enforcers. Yung second premise naman is it introduces a particular relationship between law enforcers saka sa women, stating na at least some law enforcers ay kababaihan. So yung conclusion dito, it draws a specific relationship between sa women and sa public officers based on sa premises na major at minor premises, which is nag-a-assert na at least some women are public officers. Yung conclusion nyo naman is logically valid kasi it follows at based from the premises na provided. Pero yung argument kasi it could be considered too weak if it's not supported by additional evidence or if yung premises is questionable, which is tama naman kasi talaga questionable siya kasi hindi sila magka-connect together with the middle term. So now let's proceed to fallacies according to quality, the fifth fundamental rules. 3.1. If both major premise and minor premise are assertive or positive, the conclusion must always be assertive or positive. In this syllogism, it means that the two assertive premises result in unassertive conclusions as well. Therefore, in any premises, those results to negative or denial, then the fallacious occurs. Meaning, when you're making an argument and both of your starting points called premises say something is true, which is called assertive or positive, then your final point or your conclusion also has to be true. So, dapat kung dalawang premises mo ay positive, then yung conclusion mo din dapat ay positive. Hindi siya pwedeng maging negative. If one of the premises is something isn't true, which is called negative naman, then the argument doesn't work properly. It's like saying that the 2 plus 2 equals 4, and also saying 3 plus 3 equals 6, so that means all numbers must add up. But if you say 4 minus 2 equals 6, it doesn't make sense, diba? So in short, you start with your true statements and your conclusion has to be true too in assertive way. Next is the 3.1.1 fallacious of negative conclusion. For example, all PUP professors are promoters of education, but some PUP professors are business persons. Therefore, some business persons are not promoters of education. And in this example, the major premise here is in this example, the major premise and the minor premise are both assertive, and the conclusion is negative, or it is shown denial by the virtue of the copula, which is the qualifier of the proposition. So, therefore, it shows the fallacious of negative conclusion. It's like saying all dogs have tails and all cats have tails. So, no animals have tails. But that doesn't make sense because dogs and cats do have tails. So, if you start with two true statements, your conclusion should also be true, not the opposite in the conclusion. So, that's why we mean by the fallacy of a negative conclusion. So, nag-guess nyo ba? Yung dapat mag-stick ka lang dun sa positive, not in a negative. So, pag positive yung two premises mo, dapat positive din yung conclusion mo. So, imagine, you're talking about professors at a school called PUP. You say, all PUP professors love education. Then you add, but some PUP professors also do business. From these two statements, you might jump to the conclusion. So, some business people don't love education, diba? Eh di naging negative na yung dating ng argument mo. Which is yung dalawa kasi positive, tapos yung conclusion yun lang yung naiba. So, it's not quite right, diba? Kasi, yung first two statement mo nga is about sound positively. Diba? Like they're saying something na totoo. Pero yung last one sounds negative. Or yung conclusion mo, it's like denial, like something is denying on it. Na hindi nagsusupport dun sa two premises mo. So, it's like mixing apples tsaka orange na hindi naman nag-fit, diba? So, together properly, that's what we call a fallacy of negative conclusion. So, now let's proceed to 6 fundamental rules. 3.2, if one of the major premise or minor premise is negative, then the conclusion must also be negative. And if the fundamental rule number 5 deals with the affirmative quality or of the conclusion, in this fundamental rule, it deals with the negative quality of the conclusion. So, opposite ng kanina, which is positive, ngayon naman negative. Therefore, the conclusion must not be assertive if this violates the fallacious occurs. So it means that this rule basically says that if either the major premise or the minor premise is in a logical argument is negative, then the conclusion must also be negative. In other words, if you're saying something negative in your premises, then your conclusion can suddenly be positive. This helps maintain the consistency and validity of the argument. If the conclusion is positive when it should be negative, it leads to a logical fallacy. In other words, if one part of a logical statement is negative, then the final conclusion must also be negative. This rule is about making sure the conclusion matches to other parts of the statements, and if the rule is broken, then it can lead to a mistake in reasoning. So, naging fallacy siya. 3.2.1 fallacies of assertive conclusion. For example, based from the book, every factory worker is a helpful person, but some factory workers are not women. Therefore, some women are helpful persons. In this example, the major premise is qualitatively assertive or positive, whereas the minor premise is negative naman. And the conclusion shows qualitatively assertive, positively. So, in this syllogism, it shows the violation against this fundamental rule kasi nga hindi nasunod na maging negative dapat yung conclusion based sa two premises. Basically, the fallacy of an assertive conclusion happens when the conclusion doesn't match the premises in a logical argument. For example kasi, if yung premises say something negatively, but the conclusion says positively in assertive way, it breaks this rule. Sa example naman kasi talaga, yung premises mention that some factory workers are not women, which is negative. But the conclusion asserts that some women are helpful, which is in positive and assertive way. This violates the rule because the conclusion should also be negative to match the negative premises or the two premises rather. In simpler terms, this rule is about avoiding mistakes in logic when drawing conclusions. If the main statement is positive, saying something is true, but the negative statement is added, then the final conclusion should be also negative. And in the example provided, this first statement is positive, but the second one is negative. So the conclusion should also be negative to follow the rule. But in this case, the conclusion is positive, which breaks this rule. Let's proceed now to 7 fundamental rules. 3.3. The major premise and the minor premise must not be both negative or nor even equivalently assertive or positive. In this 7th fundamental rule, it means that the middle term must not be denial of its function. If this will not happen, then the violation occurs. In simple terms, this rule states that both parts of a logical statement cannot be negative or equally positive. And this rule ensures that the middle term in the statement isn't denying its own purpose. If this rule is not followed, then it can lead to errors in reasoning. So yung dalawang premises, which is the major and minor premises, dapat hindi sila pwedeng magkaparehas na positive at saka negative. Kasi kung if ever maging parehas sila, makaapektuhan yung conclusion at maapektuhan yung buong argument. Let's proceed to 3.3.1, which is the fallacies of not inclusive negative premises. For example, based from the book, no moron is a philosopher, but no moron is a politician. Therefore, no politician is philosopher. In this example, the non-assertive character of these premises shows to a negative conclusion. It illustrates that a mistake in the logic, which is the first statement says that no moron is a philosopher, and the second statement says that no moron is a politician. However, concluding that no politician is a philosopher based on these premises is flawed because it assumes that all politicians are morons, which is not necessarily true. But it's a logical error rather because it doesn't consider the possibility of some politicians being philosophers despite not being morons. Basically, it illustrates a logical mistake where both statements are negative. The conclusion then wrongly assumes that because no moron is a philosopher and no moron is a politician, no politician is a philosopher. Then this violates the rule that both parts of the statement cannot be negative. And both premises are negative, which is no moron is a philosopher and no moron is a politician. And according to the rule, the major premise and the minor premise cannot both be negative at the same way. Since they are both negative, then it violates the rule. The conclusion, therefore, no politician is a philosopher, is drawn from these negative premises, resulting in wrong conclusion based on the rule and the premises itself. So now let's proceed to 8 fundamental rules. 1.1, it must that one premise be universal in this fundamental rule tells us that it matters not only quality but also in quantity of the premises. Therefore, it demands that one premise must be universal quantifier, and in the syllogism, it is a deductive argument. Now, if the major premise and the minor premise are both particular, then the violation occurs. So basically, it means that this rule states that in a logical argument, at least one of the statement must apply universally to all members of the group. And this means it's not just about the quality or positive or it's either positive or negative, but of the statement, but also about the quantity of the statement or how broadly or narrowly it applies. So for a logical argument to be valid, one of the statements must apply to all members of the group being discussed. And if both statements are limited to specific cases only, then it violates the rule. Let's proceed to 1.1.1. Fallacious of two particular premises, major premise and minor premise. So for example, based from the book, some supervisors are lawmakers, but some professional persons are supervisors. Therefore, some professional persons are lawmakers. And in this example, the given major premise and the minor premise are both particular. It's stated in particular way, not in universally. It destroys the essence of deductive form of syllogism. And this rule is about avoiding a mistake in logic where both statements in an argument are specific or limited. The example provided based from the book, both the major premise and the minor premise talks about specific cases with the word some itself, like some supervisors are lawmakers and some professional persons are supervisors. And this violates the rule because it doesn't provide a universal statement that applies to all cases, wherein it is stated as particular. So as a result, the conclusion drawn from this, particular premises may not be valid kasi nga nabanggit siya in particular way, which is dapat universal way. May nabanggit na some doon sa dalawang premises, which is dapat hindi. So this rule is like saying don't draw big conclusions from small examples. Imagine if someone said some apples are red and some fruits are apples. So some fruits are red, but it doesn't work because we're only talking about some and not all, not universally. Not all apples are red. So similarly, if both parts of an argument talk about specific cases, or some supervisors are lawmakers and some professional persons are supervisors, then the conclusion may not be reliable because it doesn't cover all situations and it just only based on two premises which is stated particularly and not universally. So now let's proceed to the ninth fundamental rules, 1.2. If one of the major premise or minor premise is particular, then the conclusion must also be particular. And in this ninth fundamental rule, at least one of the premises must be particular in order to put particular in the conclusion, and if not, violation occurs. So in simple terms, or basically, this rule states that if one of the statement is in an argument talks about specific cases or particular, then the conclusion must also be specific or particular also. So if one part of the argument is limited or in particular way, then the conclusion must also be limited to those same specific cases. And if this rule isn't followed, it leads to a mistake in reasoning or fallacy. So yung dapat sa So, dun sa argument, dapat, ang gagamitin mong statement is particular in major and minor premises. Dapat yung dalawang statement mo na gagamitin doon is particular. Para yung conclusion mo, dun siya magbe-base na which is particular, then hindi siya magiging universal. So in 1.2.1, fallacious of distributed conclusion, for example, based from the book, all singers are artists, but some singers are Japanese. Therefore, all Japanese are artists. So in this example, the minor premise shows particular, and yet the conclusion is universal. In this syllogism, it results to violation of this fundamental rule. Kasi nga, yung all singers are artists, universal yon. Tapos yung second premises, but some singers are Japanese. Sa conclusion naman, therefore, all Japanese are artists. Yung dalawa, conclusion tapos major statement, dalawa silang universal. Pero yung sa gitna, naging particular. Which is dapat parehas yung dalawang statement para parehas din yung kakalabasan ng conclusion. Kaya mali yun. So, in this example, the minor premise shows particular, and yet the conclusion is universal. Ulitin ko. In this syllogism, it results to violation of this fundamental rule. Kasi, in simple terms, yung rule means if one of part of an argument talks about specific cases or particular, then the conclusion must also be limited to those same specific cases. However, kasi dun sa example provided, yung minor premise talks about some singers being Japanese or a specific case. Pero in conclusion, makes universal statement. Generalize niya na all Japanese are artists. So, binaviolate niya yung rule kasi yung conclusion is broader than the premises. Mas broad yung conclusion kasi generalize niya kaysa dun sa premises, which leads to a mistake in logic. So, essentially, the argument is trying to say something about all Japanese people based on just some singers being Japanese, which doesn't make sense, diba? Now let's proceed to the last fundamental rule, which is the 10th fundamental rule. 1.3, the subject of the conclusion must be in the means, premise, and the conclusion must always be asserted or in positive way. In the syllogism, nothing will be in the conclusion unless it must be in the premises. It means that the subject term is something that is being affirmed or denied, and if this will not be followed, the violation occurs. So basically, this rule states that the subject of the conclusion must be mentioned in the minor premise, and the conclusion must always make a clear statement based from the premises. So magbe-base yung conclusion mo dun sa two premises na major and minor. This means that whenever is being talked about in the conclusion must also be talked about in the premises. Kailangan nyo na dun sa conclusion mo, nabanggit din dun sa premises. Or yung statement leading up to the conclusion mo. So, if this isn't followed, syempre mag-break mo yung rule, and it leads to a mistake in reasoning. Essentially, yung conclusion mo kasi should be based on the information provided in the premises, and dapat it should be clear and state appropriately based nga doon sa premises na major and minor. Sa 1.3.1 naman, dun sa 1.3.1 naman, fallacious of existential import. For example, based from the book, every president is a leader, but Ninoy Aquino III is a president. Therefore, Joseph Estrada is a leader. This example, the subject term of the conclusion, which is Joseph Estrada, has never been stated in the minor premise. So it has nothing to do with the statement. Therefore, the process of asserting in the conclusion is fallacious. So 1.3.1, fallacious of existential support. For example, from the book, every president is a leader, but Ninoy Aquino III is a president, and therefore Joseph Estrada is a leader. So in this example, the subject term of the conclusion, which is Joseph Estrada, has never been stated in the minor premise, and it's nothing to do with dun, diba? Sa naunang premise. So therefore, yung process of asserting in the conclusion is fallacious. Kasi saan siya magbe-base? Kung siya magbe-base yung conclusion mo, kung yung second premise mo ay has nothing to do doon sa naunang premises, di ba? So, sobrang mali yun. Merong problema dun sa reasoning mo, saka sa pag-argue, paggawa mo ng argument. And this is about making sure that the conclusion of an argument doesn't introduce new information that wasn't in the premises. Dapat, kung ano yung nandun sa mga premises mo, dapat yun lang din ang nandun sa conclusion mo. Dapat accurate tsaka clear yung pagkakastig doon. The conclusion of an argument doesn't introduce new information that wasn't in the premises. And in the example which is provided in the book, the minor premises states that Ninoy Aquino III is the president, but it doesn't mention anything about Joseph Estrada, diba? So, however, the conclusion asserts that Joseph Estrada is a leader, which introduces new information not found in the premises. Kasi sabi niya, president, yung si Ninoy Aquino. Pero si Joseph Estrada, nabanggit niya na leader. So, this violates the rule because the conclusion shouldn't. So, this is about making sure that the conclusion of an argument doesn't introduce new information that wasn't in the premises. And in the example provided by the book, the minor premise states that Ninoy Aquino III is the president, but it doesn't mention anything about Joseph Estrada because it's stated in the first premise, Ninoy Aquino is the president, and in the second premise, Joseph Estrada is a leader. So, it introduces new information not found in the premises, and this violates the rule because the conclusion shouldn't bring up new details that weren't already mentioned in the premises. So, that's it.